Hi again. A big issue here in the United States is gun rights. The Second Amendment, concealed carry, the right to own, generally the right to keep and bear arms. There are a lot of people for the issue, there's a lot of people against the issue, and there's a lot of people on the fence. Something that really irritates me is media and politicians who don't know what they're talking about, probably because they've never owned or shot a firearm in their life. They probably have one of their little underpaid interns go pull stuff off the internet and say, here, this is the truth. I'm going to do my best to be unbiased in this. I'm a gun owner, I'm a gun hobbyist, I shoot, I reload, I make my own, or cast my own bullets. But I want to explain the difference between the two different types of handguns. The reason I'm doing this mainly this morning is as I was searching through some of my RSS feeds, my news feeds, there was a reporter out of Phoenix, Arizona, Jim Walsh was his name, and in his story he refers to a 22mm and a 40mm handgun. Okay, well first of all, there's no such thing as a 22mm handgun, big gun, long gun, or even a military piece for that matter. 40mm is roughly the diameter of an aerosol can, maybe a little smaller. And if you've ever watched like news coverage of the war in Iraq or something like that, and you see a soldier with an M16 with what looks like a pipe underneath of it, that pipe that you see is, I believe it's called the military's M203. It's a grenade launcher. It's not available for public sale. It's not available for civilian sale. And the chances that this criminal in Phoenix using a 40mm are slim to none, and you know where slim went. It was probably a 40 caliber handgun. Caliber is a measurement that closely goes by inches. For example, 50 caliber .50 would be about ½ an inch in diameter. Another one that really burned me up a couple months ago was the shooting at Virginia Tech. Early in the morning after the shooting, John Roberts from CNN just butted in and says, we have breaking news. The news is that we've found out that one of the handguns used in the shooting was a Glock. And he unfolds his little piece of paper and says, from what I understand, a Glock is a paramilitary style semi-automatic assault pistol. Okay, the only thing he got right was semi-automatic. Paramilitary, okay, maybe. The Glock was originally designed for the Austrian army. But there is a civilian models of it, which are probably, I'd be willing to bet, the #1 selling guns in the United States. I don't know this for a fact, but they're extremely popular among the shooting sports. I want to make first thing clear. There's no such thing as an assault weapon. That's a buzzword. Okay, people that sit on the fence that don't know anything about guns, they hear the word assault rifle or assault weapon come out of a politician or the media's mouth, and wow, that sounds bad. Maybe these shouldn't be allowed. Maybe I should maybe consider voting against them. Maybe I should consider what they should consider is looking into the truth a little further. Okay, a weapon is only an assault weapon if it's used in an assault. So for instance, if I were to take this screwdriver and ram it into your eyeball, this would become an assault weapon. Enough said. Okay, now for our first type of handgun. It's a revolver. There are two types of revolver, double action, single action. This is what a revolver looks like. It's pretty obvious because of the center portion of it here revolves. You can see it on the cam. There are two basic types of revolver, single action, double action. The action refers to how many jobs the trigger performs. So this is a double action revolver. It's a .357 Rossi. It's my wife's gun. By double action I mean the trigger performs two functions. One, as you pull it, the hammer will come back. You can see the hammer back here. See the hammer come back. That's one action. And then as the trigger comes all the way back, the gun fires. That's the second action. So the trigger's performing two functions. Sometimes you'll see single action guns. These are mainly the Western style guns. If you're a gun enthusiast and you see cowboy action shooting or something like that, or the old Western movies, where they have to physically, pull the hammer back first. That's called single action. You're pulling the hammer back manually, so the trigger performs one function, firing the gun. A revolver typically holds 6 rounds. It holds them inside of a cylinder. I've got to twist this so you can see it without pointing it at myself, which isn't a safe thing to do. There we go. And you can see 6 rounds can slide into that cylinder. As the trigger's pulled, round fires. As you pull the trigger again, you'll see the cylinder rotate, bringing the next round forward. So it can fire 6 rounds consecutively before you have to reload it out the side. Some revolvers, mainly the smaller calibers, will hold 8 rounds. Others will hold 5 rounds. It depends on the size of the revolver and the size of the ammunition. But basically that's all there is to a revolver. Okay, now for the semi-automatic handgun. You hear a lot of shooters call them automatics. They're semi-automatic. Semi-automatic meaning 1 round every time the trigger's pulled. There are no fully automatic handguns on the market. Not that civilians can buy. But here it is. That is a semi-automatic handgun. You can tell the big difference between it and a revolver by the blockiness of it. Obviously it's a totally different beast, totally different type of firearm. A semi-automatic loads from a magazine that is in the grip. This particular magazine can hold 17 rounds. This is a Glock 17. By placing the magazine in the gun, you now have 17 rounds you can fire. In order to shoot it, the first time you have to pull the slide back. I'm going to do this from the muzzle end of it. You normally wouldn't do this, but I'm just doing it so that you can see it. You got to pull the slide back. When you pull the slide back, 1 round comes up slightly out of the magazine. As the slide comes back forward, it pushes that round out of the magazine and forward into the barrel. So you just swipe the round from here up into the barrel where it's ready to fire, or up into the chamber would be more accurate. Once the round's up here in the chamber, in order to fire it, all you have to do is pull the trigger. It would fire. At that point, primer ignites powder. Powder pushes bullet out of the barrel, creates a vacuum. All the air rushing back into the barrel blows the slide rearward, causing the spent casing to eject. And as the slide comes forward, it scoops another round off the top of the magazine, slides it up into the chamber, ready to fire again. Bang. Now, like I said, semi-automatic, fully automatic. This is semi-automatic. Almost all, whenever you hear a handgun referred to as an automatic, it is semi-automatic, which means it fires 1 round every time I pull the trigger. A fully automatic, if you ever hear of it or see one, is the type of gun where you pull the trigger and it just sprays its bullets everywhere as long as the person holds the trigger in. Those are illegal in the United States. In order to get one, you've got to be thoroughly investigated, background checked, and pay a whole bunch of money to the ATF, which is an organization you don't want to have to mess with. But that's basically the 2 different types of handguns. I hope this helps people determine, what they're hearing on the news or what they hear politicians say is correct. I hope I helped you learn something. If not, I got another video out there on YouTube. I hope you like my video. Keep coming. Feel free to subscribe. Feel free to ask me questions. Have a good one.